Hey guys, Ultraman52 here. I am back from the movie theater. Ooh boy. Oh man. I just got done watching Shin Godzilla, and today is the review of Shin Godzilla. I'll provide the poster for it right here, the American one, or the Japanese one, like whichever one I can find. But, oh man, like I was originally planning to do a skit for the film, but unfortunately, just due to time constraints and being able to not think of anything legitimately funny enough to warrant, doing one, I just said, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to go ahead and do a review. God, where do I begin? First, before I even get into review, let me just talk about a few things here. One is that this is only my second time seeing a traditional Japan Godzilla film in the theater. The first one that I saw as a kid was Godzilla 2000, back in 2000. I saw that supposedly 3 times, from what my mom and uncle say. I saw that once with my uncle, that one I remember. Once with my mom, and once with my grandma. I don't remember the other 2 happening, but whatever. But I remember as a kid, when I first saw the film, I was so excited to go see it, because it was my first time seeing a legitimate Japan Godzilla film in the theater, that I screamed the title Godzilla 2000 in the theater, and everyone just looked at me and go like, "What the fuck is this kid doing?" And I was like, because I couldn't help it, I was so excited. But I, of course, did see the 2 American Godzilla films. I did see '98 Godzilla in theaters when I was very, very young, and I also saw the 2014 Godzilla 2 years ago, in fact, which was a really fun experience to see that, in front of like a fucking huge audience. There also was a pretty big audience for Shin Godzilla when I went to go see it. Met some new friends, some new kaiju friends, and we just basically for like a whole hour before the movie started, we just talked about, our favorite Godzilla film, favorite Godzilla monster, and favorite incarnation of Godzilla, and what were our expectations for the film and whatnot. Just that possibly was a great defining moment for me being a kaiju fan, because I have never met other hardcore kaiju fans like people who I met today, but it was awesome. It was really, really awesome to just see other people that really showed the interest in something of this character, just like I do. Whew. Okay, but where do we begin for Shin Godzilla? Well, let's go ahead and just talk about. I'm not gonna spoil the movie, because if you watch my spoiler review of Shin Godzilla, you pretty much know a couple things that do happen, which I won't even. I'll pretty much just talk about half the film and then just stop there, before I get to other stuff. But basically, the film begins with a ship. I forget like what body of water. It's a large body of water, but it's adrift at in that certain body of water that the Coast Guard decides to check it out. They don't know why it's there, so they find this little origami thing in a piece of a bunch of files and a bunch of paper in this file folder. Then all of a sudden, literally right next to the ship, a giant geyser of water and mist spouts out. So literally about 5 minutes into the film, you all fucking ready, the action is ramped up. Which also, by the way, when the film started, you saw the Toho logo. Literally, when the Toho logo popped up, everyone in the theater started clapping and cheering. That was awesome. And then, you see the Showa logo for Toho, and then you hear the booming footsteps of Godzilla from the '54 movie. And literally, how it opens up is literally no joke, just like the '54 film, where it shows the 2 foot stomps, the 2 or 3 foot stomps, and then you hear the '54 roar, and then pops up the title Shin Godzilla. And just hearing that brought back so many memories, because I at one point in time saw the '54 Godzilla film at like a special screen. So technically this actually is the 3rd Godzilla film I saw in the theater, but it's the 2nd new Godzilla film I've seen. No pun intended, because Shin means new in Japanese. But basically after that, right there, the Japanese government is trying to figure out like what caused the geyser. Like, was it a volcanic eruption or something like that? They don't know. And all of a sudden, one of the characters says that, I think it might have been some kind of giant creature. And of course, they all laugh it off. But then a giant tail sprouts out of the water. And they're like, okay, maybe your little joke was very true. So basically, I'd say about like 15-20 minutes, I'd say, that's when Godzilla, in his second form, his child form, makes an appearance. So basically, right after that, the second form of Godzilla is making landfall. Just basically goes ape shit through the city. He's basically like a giant snake with legs, just like waddling around in the city. Like, it's pretty funny looking, to be honest. I think that Form 2 of Shin Godzilla is hilarious looking, but it's just so freaking cool. But then all of a sudden he stops moving for whatever reason. Then you slowly start to see him evolve. Like, he starts to stand up straight. His skin goes from like a peaches color to like a blood red color, and he stands up straight, and he leans up, and he has the 54 roar, which, hearing that roar was just awesome to hear, to be honest. And for basically about the next 10 minutes of that Godzilla, of the third form Godzilla, at that point in time, just stumbling through the city pretty much. And then all of a sudden his back starts to glow bright red, and then he makes a fucking beeline, like just literally sprints and hauls ass to Tokyo Bay. And literally, once Godzilla hits Tokyo Bay and he's gone, that's when the film unfortunately takes that downward spiral. Not in a bad way. The film is in general really good. I mean, I highly enjoyed it. It's just the one complaint people have with the film is that it's very, very, very dialogue heavy. And I completely understand, and I can see why now. It is extremely dialogue heavy. Literally, once Godzilla disappears for, I'd say, like 45 minutes, I'd say, yeah. The film just goes into just continuous talking. But that whole time, they're trying to figure out, why is Godzilla here? Where did he come from? And what is he? And we start to find out that over the years they were people have been dumping nuclear waste in I forget like what sea it was, but microscopic organisms were feeding off this nuclear waste, and they all kind of convulged and mutated themselves into a tadpole creature, or Shin Godzilla, to be more precise. And over the years, it kept growing and growing and growing. So that tadpole would eventually become Godzilla. And it's kind of funny how Godzilla got his name, because there's this one Japanese chick who is supposed to be Japanese, who's supposed to be American Japanese, like she knows both English and Japanese, but she does speak English quite a lot in the movie, but it's like Japanese English. Like, you can tell that like it has a Japanese accent to it when it's speaking English. In fact, a lot of the characters do speak English. A lot of the Japanese actors, do speak English, and it's actually surprisingly good English too, by the way. Like, you can still, for the most part, understand what they're trying to say. There are still there are still subtitles to explain what they're doing and whatnot. But yeah, but back to what I was saying about the name of Godzilla, is that it was originally the Americans that, essentially, if I remember correctly, it was the Americans that pretty much gave him the name Godzilla. So, in effect, it's kind of weird, because since the Americans called him Godzilla, they translated it to Japanese as Gojira. So, Gojira was, his name in Japan. So that's essentially how Godzilla got his name through this film, was thanks to the Americans and whatnot. So at that point, they're still trying to figure like why Godzilla is here, and what is causing him to be the way he is and whatnot. And then once, I'd say about probably when you really start to get bored with everything, Godzilla reappears in his fourth and final form. And that's when the action revs up again, which it's kind of an appropriate thing to have happen. Now, this Godzilla is fucking terrifying. Actually, no, because the poster is right here. He's fucking terrifying as shit. Especially that shit-eating grin like that he has in the poster. It's fucking terrifying, by the way. Like, design-wise, he has, I think, the longest Godzilla tail, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that, though. He also has very, very small arms. I think that's one complaint I really had about that Godzilla, is that he had super small arms. But after a while, I got used to it. Also, he has gigantic thunder thighs, but it kind of works for the character in this film. Like, it really does work for the character. Like, it kind of molds with it, and you're like, you know what, that makes sense why he's so fat in the thighs. Face-wise, it's the best thing. He is fucking terrifying in the face. He looks, honestly, like a monster. He looks like a monster, like if this was a real creature. And, basically, right after that is it's just that at that point in time, it's just the military bombarding Godzilla with everything, like bullets, missiles, shells, like literally everything, and they're not doing anything against him. Like, they're bouncing off Godzilla, and as he's making his way through Tokyo. Once nightfall comes, I'm pretty sure you've seen it in my spoiler review, or sorry, in my spoiler talk for Shin Godzilla on an episode of Let's Talk Tuesday, that we see Godzilla's atomic breath finally. And it was fucking cool as shit to see that. To see it all go like in motion like that, it was so fucking cool. My favorite shot of the entire film is probably when, like, after Godzilla has completely just literally like obliterated Tokyo in a ball of fire. The camera kind of takes a front view shot of Godzilla just walking to the camera as he's still glowing purplish color, but while there's a giant ball of fire behind him, and it's a great shot. Like, I think it's my favorite shot in the entire movie. Like, I want that as a background for my computer screen. Holy shit! Because literally at that scene, you automatically know that this Godzilla is quite literally a god, because the tagline for the film, thanks to the Funimation, says "A god incarnate, a city doomed." In this film, Godzilla is literally that. He is literally a walking god. In fact, they call him that several times in the film. They call Godzilla a god, which is very appropriate, and a lot of the music cues were fucking spot on, which I'll get onto that in a minute. Now, I don't want to spoil how they succeed in defeating Godzilla or anything like that. I won't spoil how that happens, but once the third and fourth act of the film is where the film really shines. It kind of slows down. It kind of slows down after the Tokyo gets fucking obliterated scene, because for some reason why Godzilla is put to sleep, quote unquote, in that, and not by human causes, by his own cause. So, but once that happened, the film kind of goes back to being kind of slow and more dialogue. But at that point in time, they figure out how they can beat Godzilla, like how they can kill him. Well, not really kill him, but temporarily subdue him for quite a while. But I won't spoil how they do it, obviously. So if you want to go see it, you have like, I think like 7 days ago, like 6-7 days now, I think, whatever. By the time this review goes out, the movie will probably be out of theaters. Hopefully you saw it and whatnot. So yeah, or go find it on fucking Pirate Bay. I don't fucking care, or whatever. Yeah, or just wait for the goddamn Blu-ray to come out. I don't know. But yeah, going to the sound effects real quick. Godzilla has 4 roars kind of in this movie. Once he gets into his third form, he for the first time does the 54 roar, which is freaking awesome. Then when he gets to his final form, he gets 3 roars, strangely enough. You hear him repeatedly use the Heisei roar from 92 through 94 quite frequently in the third act. And then once it gets to the fourth act, he kind of changes up his roar kind of. He gets the kind of Showa roar from the '60s Godzilla films, and he uses that roar a few times, like I said, during the fourth act. But in the very final moments of the film, Godzilla just one time uses the 84 roar, the 84 roar, and I, for whatever reason why, I wanted that roar to be the main roar for Godzilla for that film. Because that roar is just, it's a heavy, empowering roar, and I thought it fit that Godzilla perfectly. So now, not only do we get some very awesome, iconic Godzilla roars, I was kind of hoping for a new original roar for Godzilla in this film, but then I can't really complain, because this is Toho's new Godzilla film in 12 years. Their last Godzilla film before this was Godzilla Final Wars back in 2004. So 12 years this shit's, been there. So 12 years, no Godzilla. Until 2014 came with the Legendary Figures 1, but yeah. But not only do we get some classic Godzilla roars, we also get classic Toho sound effects. Like, if you ever watched any of the Showa Godzilla films, you hear some of the more iconic, classic explosion effects, or hitting, ground hitting effects and whatnot. Like, it's hard to explain what those sound effects were. You have to literally watch the Showa Godzilla films to understand what the hell I'm talking about. Like, if you were to watch, say, Godzilla vs. Megalon, or Gigan, or Hedorah, or any kind of show like that, and you would hear the sound effects, they're in this film. And it's kind of an homage, really, to, how classic it was, which is great. Now, the music, oh man. Also, I'll be providing all the information on the film down below, like the director, the composer, the composer did a fucking phenomenal job on this film, by the way. The composer, the writer, and whatnot, pretty much almost everything. The composer of the film, he's more famous for doing the Evangelion movies, which he's done Evangelion 1, 2, and 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. In fact, the director is more famous for doing the Evangelion movies, and also the live-action Attack on Titan film, which did shit. Which was complete shit, by the way. But the music in this film, it combines old school music, like music from Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, the original 54 theme, the original Godzilla theme anyways, and a bunch of other music from past Godzilla films, from the Showa, Heisei, and the Millennium series. And then we get some of the newer music. The newer music, which you're hearing right now, is the music that you're hearing right now in this video is called Persecution of the Masses. This is the main theme song for Shin Godzilla. This song is fucking amazing. Once this song hit in the theater, me and another new kaiju friend of mine, we were fucking humming to this, like, the whole fucking way through. Because although I kind of wish that the Persecution of the Masses theme was put near the atomic breath scene. I think that would have been a little bit better, in my opinion at least. But the song is, like I said, called Persecution of the Masses, and it is a disturbing, haunting song. It really gives you the sense of dread, like a foreboding threat, like something horrifying is happening. And that's essentially what's going on right here in this film. Like, Godzilla is literally laying waste to Tokyo, and he's gonna soon turn his attention to the entire world after he's done here. And that theme pretty much stacks right there. It's literally it probably just destroys the original Godzilla theme song and blows it completely out of the water. Like, Persecution of the Masses is a song I think you really need to hear without me talking over, to really understand that fucking threat that Godzilla can assume. Because this film is essentially how the real world would react if Godzilla was real. Like, what would the media do? What would the politicians do? and just it really kind of shows you what the world really would do if something like this happened. Granted, it never would, but it'd be awesome as shit if it did. But I feel that a lot of the elements from the more serious Godzilla films, like from '54 and '84, really kind of coexist with this film, because it kind of takes both of those two elements and kind of blends it together, and what you get is this film and like what it represents. I'm kind of doing a Kamehameha type thing. That's weird, but I love the tone of the film that kind of sets it back to the whole that Godzilla is essentially like a force of nature, that he cannot be stopped by man-made causes. Like, he just does what he does, but he's still an animal in a way. But in fact, like, speaking of that, it's kind of a weird thing, but there's a part where like a bunch of crowds of people at night just chanting, you know, like, oh, save God, Godzilla, blah blah blah. And there's a part that they say that God is Godzilla, or Godzilla is God, or whatever. And I'm like, oh my god, those fucking people get it. Those people get what Godzilla is. He's literally a god incarnate. And it was, yeah. So other than that, I can't really say any more about the film. I would definitely recommend checking this film out. Unfortunately, I'm uploading this video on Tuesday. So I highly doubt people will, in fact, see this film entirely. So if you can find it on the Pirate Bay or wherever torrent site you use, then great, fantastic. But if you happen to catch it in the theater, let me know what you guys thought down below. I'm really curious to see what you guys thought. Or just wait for the Blu-ray to come out. I'm pretty sure that Funimation will be getting a Blu-ray out sometime, maybe December, if not early January, if not February at the latest, I want to say. Because I knew they were going to give this film the Dragon Ball Z treatment. Because Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods and Resurrection F pretty much got like a week or so release, limited theater release here in the States, and then got released on DVD and Blu-ray like a few months later. So the same thing's going to happen to the Shin Godzilla. But yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Overall, I also kind of felt that there really wasn't enough Godzilla because of essentially because of the huge amount of talking in the film, which I felt really did weigh the film down. If the film was basically about like an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, I think it would have been better. But also, I should say, not spoiling the ending, but the ending is pretty fucking creepy. It is. I got chills when I first saw it. Like, my eyes were like, what the fuck did I just see? I was so lost for words. It was, I wouldn't say it was bone chilling, but it is fucking disturbing as shit at the end. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the film down below. If you've seen it, or do you at all have any plans to go see it via getting it on Blu-ray or whatever. So yeah, overall rating, I give the film a 8 out of 10. The 8 mainly because of just the fact that there's just way too much dialogue, well, sorry, talking scenes at least, and I feel that there also is at the same time not enough Godzilla. It's more Godzilla in this film than in the legendary one, but at the same time I was wishing for more Godzilla at least. But yeah, I've not done a film review in a very, very long time, so excuse me if I wasn't really that great at it again. I mean, a couple of years back I was really good at doing it, but I have to really, rethink what I'm doing for reviews-wise nowadays. So yeah, let me know, do you guys like the reviewing thing that I'm doing right now? Should I do more reviews and whatnot? So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and also don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. Again, I give the film a 8 out of 10. Reason why, again, I felt that there was still not enough Godzilla, but there was enough to satisfy what I wanted out of it and whatnot, and that there was just a way too much of dialogue, like talking constantly, which, by the way, this film was entirely subtitled in Japanese, like entirely subtitled in English, entirely Japanese. So yeah, but I kind of had to like quick read, then look back up, quick read, look back up, but yeah. So again, hope you guys all enjoyed. again, do all that good shit, like, comment, subscribe, all that goodness. So yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed, and sayonara.